Hey YouTube, Mark Coffman here, and today I have a interesting knife to show you, and that is a knife from a company called Vosteed. And this is the packaging for the knife. I'm going to show that off first. So it comes in a sleeve, and then the box is actually a reusable tin, which I'm actually going to store pencils in. And then the knife comes in a very, very nice pouch. And then over here you get a few cards, and then this also has where you can contact them. And over here has a specification sheet, which is very, very cool. So for me, I like having that, so I don't really have to memorize any of the length or anything. So actually I'm going to pull that out and put it up here next to my notes. So that's going to help in this review. So let me put all this away here, get that fitted right in there, and then throw this cap back on here. So Vosteed is a relatively new knife company, and they reached out to me and wanted to see what I thought of their Nightshade. I believe that is what this one is, the Vosteed Nightshade. And this is a very, very interesting knife. Very interesting indeed. I've actually really enjoyed carrying this knife, but I do have a few criticisms, and I will be covering those. So let's first start out with this blade. This is a traditional Shinlin cutter blade, and this developed in Taiwan and Japan, and I have to say it is a very interesting blade shape. One of the great things about this blade shape is it is a complete flat ground knife, and it has a ton of belly. So I have a few videos here that will show you how effective this thing is at cutting. And one of the things I noticed when using it is how effective it is in keeping material in the blade's path. So I really liked that. The reverse grip here is very comfortable. It kind of goes like that, and it keeps all of your material that you're cutting in this belly here, and it really does a great job. Now if you're cutting anything thinner than this is going to probably get caught, whatever this is you're cutting is going to get caught here in the sharpening choil. So that is how it did on some wood and some very thick piping. But I also used this while cooking or while grilling. And I have to say, this is a fantastic cutter. Really slices through meat, really just cuts through everything. Apples, bananas, pears, just everything. It really slices through it. But I will not say it is the absolute best for food prep. Now you're looking at a 154 cm blade, which is going to be 3.25 inches long. And they say this blade style is a kukri cutter, and then it is flat ground. So the G10 here is going to be their Midnight Black. It's just black G10, but it's Midnight Black G10, and it is contoured G10. So that there is already a pretty nice thing right there. And then it has a gray collar around the pivot. So for me, I find that to be very nice. And then you have a very generic clip. I find this clip to be very effective in coming out and going into the pocket. Now the blade steel is 154 cm, and that's one of my favorite steels. That right there is one of the reasons why I've enjoyed carrying it, because that stuff just drops up so easily. Now I do have a few gripes about this knife. One is the handle is just a little bit small for me. I mean, it's very comfortable, but you know, you're gonna have a few stragglers, maybe if you have a bigger hand than mine. And then when it comes to the interface right here, this right here is kind of sharp. When you really kind of grip on this down hard, and if you're using it, this is a little sharp, especially in between these 2 points here. And then over here you do have a little bit of grip here, but you have to pass that detent ball, and the detent ball is pretty thick, pretty high, and I would love it if they could possibly put in a detent ramp there, just to get that thing to cross over that detent ball just a little bit easier. Now this thing is very smooth, but I have been using this. I've been using it in the garden. I've been using it in some sand, and I have been using it around a grill. So it's not been cleaned, and the action is still very nice. Now you do get some nice jimping here and a crowned spine, which I do like, but I wish the jimping would have gone a little bit further, because in some of the jobs that I was doing, I was really reaching over here to do some more powerful cutting, and I had nothing really to grab onto. The spine is kind of slippery. It's not too bad. It keeps your thumb there. It's comfortable, but having that jimping there just made a little bit of a difference. Now, when it comes to the back end here, you have some stainless steel standoffs here, and then you have a lanyard hole. I'm really not a lanyard guy, and for me, I just feel like the lanyard hole kind of breaks up the nice black darkness that you have here. That is this G10 handle. Now, one of the things that I really like is they come in a few variations. They had a higher end model, and then this is their lower end, and they have a gray, and then they have this black that I'm showing you here. Now, this one here is around the $80 range, okay? So that is not what I consider a budget knife, but for me, I would consider this a budget knife, okay? This is a pretty good knife for me. I find it to be very comfortable. The jimping that is on the flipper tab is effective. The action's great. The cutting is good, but it's in the $80 range. If this was somehow able to be in the $65, $70 range, this thing would be pretty hard hitting. So this is my review of the Vosteed Nightshade, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm thanking you guys over at Vosteed so much for letting me take a look at this and giving me a chance to think about this knife for my collection. And for me personally, I think it's a very good knife. I think it's going to be a good knife for utility or in a cooking environment. I mean, I wouldn't dedicate this to be a cooking knife or a chef's knife, but in a pinch, it does a great job. So thank you guys again for checking out my channel. Till the next one, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.